Hello, everybody, and welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. As always, Corey Kennan here alongside James Foster. And today we're ready to talk week 6. We're ready to give out some helmet stickers. We decided to give out 4 this week apiece because there's lots to talk about here, lots to go on. So
the participation trophy generation.
Yes,
taking over the helmet stickers.
The dang millennials and their participation trophies. But we're gonna do 4 apiece this week because we just couldn't narrow it down. James, how was your weekend? I should ask, how was your weekend, and how pumped are you to be entering into Mendoza versus Moore week?
Oh, I'm so pumped. Yeah, I'm a lot less nervous for this game than the Iowa game because it's kind of playing with house money. But honestly, man, Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza, and I would put Ty Simpson in that boat. It's like they've got this lack of exposure that's kind of the elephant in the room, but the sample of what they've done is so impressive. So excited to get a good eval on those guys.
Yep, absolutely. I feel the same exact way.
And I'm going to Indiana, Michigan State the following week, so I will see Aiden. I'm honestly like just as excited to see Aiden Childs' arm in person than anything. But yeah,
he had a rough week this past weekend, but
and one of the Titans games of all time. This week also.
So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the house money thing, because before we just dive into this, like, Dante Moore definitely has the advantage of playing behind Oregon's offensive line versus Indiana's front 4 versus Indiana's offensive line versus Oregon's front 4 in this game. So but again, that's not a cop out for Mendoza, because like if you want to be a face of a franchise and you want to prove that you're a franchise quarterback, you elevate your team in moments like that. So I am interested to see how that goes.
I mean, the most impressive. Probably one or two most impressive plays that he made against Iowa was that seam shot while he was taking a hit. So,
and it's all over his cow tape too. You could find some really awesome, like 3rd and 18 glance throws,
back shoulder fades,
back shoulder fades. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes down. Very excited though. But let's dive into the slate a little bit here, and then we'll get to our helmet stickers. So just going down the slate here again, we'll just go over top 25. I don't know if we don't need to go over every single FBS game here, but BYU West Virginia. Have you watched a lot of the Roberts kid?
For apparently not, because
the wide receiver.
Chase Roberts. No.
Yeah. He went 4 for 164 or 161 in this game.
Okay.
So, and then LJ Martin. I like LJ Martin. He reminds me of like
Martin.
Again, it's helmet scouting, but it reminds me of like Tyler Algier a little bit. But BYU pulled that one out 38-24. Heading into Saturday, Ohio State 42-3 over Minnesota. We'll get to that game because we got a couple helmet stickers in that game. Miami beats Florida State in a game that probably wasn't as close as the score indicates. Again, Ruben Bain had like 11 pressures in this game as well. Just continues to be the best player in college football this season. Anything else stick out for you in that game?
Yeah, summer scouting is such a crapshoot. Like I have just as many whiffs as I do hits, but I mean, planting the flag on Ruben Bain as edge 1 and like one of the best players in the class, I think was probably my best take. And we'll get into some of my bad takes, Carnell Tate. But yeah, Ruben Bain is, I think, probably the best defender in college football. And I would vote for him for Heisman, honestly.
Yeah, that's how he's playing. And again, I think we should notice that, like, we should do an episode on like misses from summer scouting, or like guys who are playing better. But I think that summer scouting. What? Oh, okay, that's fine with me.
Like, as far as misses in summer scouting, it's like I'm just trying to set the landscape for the year and like get because the most overwhelming thing in the world is like going into the season and having no idea like what the board even looks like, and you've just got to. It's like, drinking water through a fire hose, trying to just watch random games. So really summer scouting is about preparing myself for this year. So I just like have kind of a easier slate of knowing who I need to pay attention to, and like the rankings. I try to purposefully have no emotional attachment to especially summer scouting rankings. Like that's, if you actually want to get it right, that's the worst thing that you can do. You gotta, because these players are getting paid millions of dollars to get better at football. So like that's the expectation should be that happens pretty often.
Right. And you mentioned the Carnell Tate thing, and that's the exact same thing. Like what he's putting on tape wasn't on his tape last year, so it's not
Exactly.
like a miss.
I'm still out on 2024 Carnell Tate.
Yeah, me too. So I think that's worth stating. Let's move on to Texas A&M, Mississippi State. Casey Concepcion just continues to be a really solid football player. Defensively, we'll get to a helmet sticker in this game as well, but Mississippi State looks great, and then they get the SEC play and they're 0-2 in SEC play now. So anything else stand out from you there?
Yeah, I mean, I think they should have beaten Tennessee, but and they're definitely improved from last year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm working on a video on the receiver class because it's kind of insane to me how across the board we've seen consistent either breakouts or like significant positive development. I mean, when I look at my top 20-ish receivers and try to think about who the most disappointing receiver this year was, it's like Jacoby Lane, Denzel Boston, maybe, and they've had fine seasons. Like Jacoby Lane missed a game, but you're looking at Jordan Tyson, who has gone from really good to great or elite. Mekhi Lemon could say the exact same thing about him. Carnell Tate went from looking like he didn't want to be on the field to like an NFL receiver in one offseason. Chris Brazzell, say the same thing for him. You've got Chris Bell, you've got Casey Concepcion, Jeremy Bernard having a great season, CJ Daniels, and then like that's not even talking about Omar Cooper, Malachi Fields. I think this is stacking up to be a really good receiver class.
Yeah.
And so like today I was basically catching up on all of the top receivers for this video and updating my scouting reports. And it was kind of insane how many times I was deleting a weakness or turning it into a strength. So yeah, shout out to these guys for the work they did in the offseason for sure.
Yeah, it's turned into a really fun class. And then there's some other guys like Jordan Faison at Notre Dame and stuff like that too, where it's like their tape was pretty good and I could definitely see a role. But I think even what Carnell Tate is doing, again, this is just a sidebar on Carnell Tate because, well, actually I'll hold that because we'll talk about Carnell Tate.
Yeah.
All right. UCLA Penn State, no bigger shock of the weekend than this game as well. UCLA guts their entire staff and then goes out and beats the number 7 team in the nation.
Shout out to Nico, man.
Yeah, he played really well in this game.
Yeah.
So going back to what we talked about with Mendoza about like being a face of a franchise and elevating your team in situations where you might be outmatched, like we haven't seen Drew Aller elevate his team in a situation where his team is the heavy favorite consistently like that. And he was fine in this game. Drew Aller wasn't the reason they lost this game, but like he's sitting at less than 10 yards per attempt in this game, and that's pretty standard. He just doesn't elevate to the competition at all. Like I haven't seen it. Maybe you have, but I haven't.
That USC game from last year is getting further and further in the rearview mirror.
It is.
It's like when you think about Drew Aller's resume, how much of it has he done in the past calendar year? You know?
Yeah.
Basically.
And that USC game is a lot of like just 50-50 balls up to Tyler Warren.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that game specifically, what I liked about that was like him being able to maneuver the pocket on, 3rd and 10. He had a couple like, big time intermediate throws over the middle. So that was kind of the more playmaking side of him that I hadn't really seen. And I think you could pretty much just like track a perfect downward slope from that moment because it's been a pretty steady regression and a major disappointment. I mean, I wrote an article for the 33rd team, like I think week 6 or something of last year that like Drew Aller's playing his way into the first round. And he played his way out of it expeditiously.
Yes. He's not the only Penn State offensive player that we need to talk about in this regard either, because I think Nicholas Singleton has been completely invisible this year. Just like completely, like that the tape isn't good. They're not giving him touches for probably reasons that happen in the building or happen on the practice field, that they feel way more comfortable giving the ball to a guy who runs a 4.7 over him. So like Nick Singleton, it's time for a conversation there too.
And it's not the running back class that you want to have like one of the top guys fall off.
No.
Because I don't know who's walking through that door to save us if you need a running back.
We talked about Jonah Coleman and Wayman Jordan in depth last week because that's kind of where we're at outside of Jeremiah Love. All right, Florida, Texas. Texas dropped from number 9 in the nation to unranked after losing this football game. So that's, I mean, they don't look very good. They don't look like a very good football team right now. And neither did Florida coming into this game, who's sitting at now 2-3 on the season. So, I mean, DJ Lagway had a nice bounce back game, but again, we don't need to talk a lot about him because he's not a 2026 kid. But boy, just not what we expected from either of these programs, really, for the most part, coming into the season.
Yeah. Texas's right tackle, number 71, is one of the worst players I've ever seen. No disrespect.
He's a freshman too, I think.
Okay. That's fair. Then I feel bad. But like, that would be kind of point 1, 2, 3, and 4 that I would say for that game. The other thing, and this is such a stupid take, but I just can't get over how ugly Arch Manning's ball is. Like, he just throws an ugly ball. And I think it's more than just an aesthetic thing. Like, he has wonky mechanics that lead to him being terribly inaccurate, but that thing comes off of his arm and it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Ryan Wingo's had, again, not another kid who's not draft eligible, but like has not had the season that people expected him to have either. There's a lot going on in Austin right now that I'm not quite sure they have a lot of answers for. All right, Alabama Vanderbilt. This game was fun. I think the score shows a 2-score game, but I really thought this game was a heavyweight fight, at least for 45 minutes. Like, I don't know if you watched this game, but it felt like a heavyweight fight for 45 minutes of the 60 minutes of this game. Again, we'll talk a little bit about Ty Simpson coming into this game a little bit. But yeah, he continues to look really clean. And the Bama receivers, I think, Jeremy Bernard is probably sitting fringe top 32 right now. And I think Isaiah Horton's probably sitting fringe top 75. I think both those guys can play some football. So what else for you in this game?
Yeah, I've been impressed with Horton as well. Mainly I'm focusing on Jeremy Bernard, but he has definitely caught my attention in recent weeks. I think that, so I just watched Alabama offense, Vanderbilt defense. Haven't gotten to the other side of the ball yet, but Caden Proctor has stabilized. Like, I'm not pounding the table for him to be a high draft pick or anything, but from an Alabama football perspective, like, I think they've got a good left tackle. I mean, he was teleporting dudes in the run game.
Yeah.
And 71, who I don't know his name, was mauling people, and then Parker Brailsford always is the center. So yeah, I think that's definitely good to see. He's got a pretty tough stretch coming up that will probably make or break whether or not he's in this class. Missouri, Tennessee, South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma. That's a gauntlet.
Yeah, lots of good defensive line talent in those games. From a Vanderbilt perspective, I felt like Eli Stowers could have played better. Again, he's another guy who hasn't come into the season after some summer hype and put his best foot forward, I think. I like their defensive lineman Corday Sindor a little bit as well. Again, his body type is weird. Like, he's pretty skinny, long and skinny, but I think he's pretty wiry. I don't know exactly how explosive he is, but his get off is nice. And I think he just makes a lot of effort plays, man. And I'll take that guy in my room a lot of the times. Like, he had a few pressures where he just kept his feet moving. Had a sack where he just kept his feet moving, came back, looped back around Caden Proctor after Proctor won the rep initially and got home on Ty Simpson. So I like him quite a bit. Purdue transfer to Vanderbilt there. But that's about it from a Vandy perspective, I think.
34 and 5/8 inch arms for Corday Sindor. Yeah, I watched. You said you initially we're going to use him as a helmet sticker, so I watched him. Yeah, he's decent. Probably like 5th round or something.
Yeah, day 3 guy for sure, but he's wiry, high effort, high motor guy. Texas Tech, Houston. I thought we have a helmet sticker in this game, so I'll hold my helmet sticker there. But good bounce back game for Baron Morton after it felt like he might have been on the ropes of being benched after the Utah game when Will Hammond came in and just completely torched Utah in the second half of that game, or after Morton got a concussion. I get another. I mean, David Bailey had 11 pressures in this game as well. So obviously the pass rush, David Bailey's still there. I still have some pretty big questions about him on early downs. Even in this game, I thought he got mauled a little bit in the run game, but the high end pass rush stuff is clearly there for him. I thought Romella had a couple nice pass rush reps as well. From a Houston perspective, I've got nothing. I've got nothing to talk about. Those tackles for Houston are brutal.
Yeah,
just a couple of brutal players. But we do have a helmet sticker in this game as well, so we'll come back to that one. Georgia, Kentucky. This is like the first year that like I have nothing to talk about with Georgia. Do you have anything to talk about with Georgia in this game?
So I watched the game live. I haven't gotten to the tape yet. I think Oscar Delp continues to be impressive in the small sample size of opportunities that he gets. But yeah, man, Georgia has some NFL guys like coming up. They've got that linebacker. I think he has a really simple name. I forget. It's like Justin Smith or Justin Williams or something. And KJ Bolden. Like they've got some young dudes that I think will be good NFL guys, but it is a noticeable step down from peak Kirby Smart defenses for sure. I mean, they handled business against Kentucky, but just in general, I'm not too excited about Georgia from a draft perspective this year.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Again, I like the receiver London Humphreys, but he's not getting enough targets to produce to the level that I feel comfortable pounding a table for him at this point as well. And I came into the season high on Oscar Delp though. So, cause again, he was one of those guys that's like, this guy looks really good, even though he's not getting the football in summer scouting. So we'll see what that holds for him.
Dalen Everett's had a rough year too.
Yeah. I didn't love him coming into the season, but Iowa State, Cincinnati. Cincinnati came into this game and took care of business. They had a 17-0 first quarter and ended up squeaking it out by 8 points there. But Sorsby was off and on, but did connect on a late deep bomb there that was much needed. Evan Pryor, Ohio State transfer, had 111 yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 carries. Did you watch Tyree Walker in this game at all either? Did you see the truck? Do you see his truck?
Oh, no, I didn't.
My language, sorry. He leveled a dude in the open field coming straight up the gut. So that was fun as well. But we do have a helmet sticker on the defensive side of the ball in this game too, so we won't get too far into that. But who knows, man? Cincinnati could start stacking some stuff up here and make some noise. The Big 12 is always wild because the Big 12 just completely cannibalizes each other every year.
Yeah.
So like one team will look really good the next week and they'll lose to another Big 12 team the next week. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen there.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite league to watch. Just like
for pure chaos.
If I had to watch two just mid teams that I don't care about, give me Big 12.
Yeah. I think I agree with you there. It would have been Pac-12 after dark, but rest in peace there. Michigan, Wisconsin. Rest in peace. Justice Haynes did not have a 70-yard run in this game, but he did finish with 117 and 2 touchdowns on 19 carries.
Yeah, he had a couple nice ones.
Mm-hmm. Vinny Anthony again continues to be the leading receiver for Wisconsin. I haven't sat down and really watched him in depth. I know you've mentioned him a couple times on the podcast, but again, from an NFL draft perspective, Derek Moore, I should actually shout out Derek Moore. He had a sack and then I think he had like 10 pressures in this game too. So Derek Moore had himself a good game for Michigan defensively.
Rod Moore had a really nice interception. Like he's coming back from an injury, right? So kind of playing a rotational role, but really, really nice pick in the sideline from a single high.
Love it. All right. Moving down the line here. Notre Dame, Boise State. Max Madsen threw 4 interceptions in this game. I don't know what else there is to talk about. I did think that Cage Casey played pretty well against that Notre Dame defensive line.
I got to check that out then.
I
haven't watched a single snap of Cage Casey.
Not me either this year, because I thought he was a redshirt junior, and then I looked and was like, oh nope, this is his 4th year of eligibility, and he's played since he was a true freshman, so time to watch him. Again, Jordan Faison continues to impress me. I don't think he plays through contact particularly well, but he's a really twitchy mover, really consistent with his hands. And then I think Jadarian White, or not Jadarian White, I was about to comp him to do with the last name White. Jadarian Price has a decent future ahead of him. He keeps just producing on limited touches behind Jeremiah Love. Like, he consistently averages like 9 yards a carry in these games. Again, he doesn't pass protect very well, and he doesn't catch the football very well. So I think like he'll always be rather limited, but like he reminds me of Zamir White, the year that James Cook and Zamir White were platooning in Georgia's backfield. Because Zamir White is very much another north-south like explosive runner, but outside of that, it's like, what do you really bring? So he reminds me a lot of Zamir White in that regard.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about Jeremiah Love over the second half of the season? Like, I feel like he's kind of bounced back a little bit.
Oh yeah, dude. I watched that game. He had a really nice run, like really creative run, where he got to the second level and made a dude miss the second level there, and then just like exploded into the open field as well. So we're seeing a renaissance after a slow start. I mean, last week he had like 80 yards receiving. He had like as many receiving yards as he did rushing yards. So I think he's definitely like, he has no peer in this class, in my opinion. Just absolutely no peer in this class. Yeah.
Who would be your bet for RB2 at this point?
I think it's got to be probably Jonah Coleman at this point.
Yeah.
Jonah Coleman or Wayman Jordan. One of those two, in my opinion. Like, but Wayman Jordan is like, this is his first year playing FBS football after coming in from JUCO last year. So like, there's not even a really big sample size there. So and Jonah Coleman's a 5th-year back, and I typically don't like 5th-year backs because I don't want dudes who have a ton of tread on their tires. So like, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. I still like Hollywood Smothers. The body type is kind of a tough sell, but I think he's really dynamic. It's pretty bleak though.
Yeah, very bleak. Anytime I see like a 5'10", 215-pound back, it's like, okay, I got to watch this guy. Maybe he's the one. And
right.
He never is. Illinois, Purdue. I think Luke Altmaier's got a future as a backup in the NFL. I think he could get drafted. I think he had a really good game. Be a draftable quarterback. And then Hank Beatty. Have you paid any attention to Hank Beatty yet?
No.
Team went 5 for 186 and 1 in this game. So if you enjoy a nice little white slot receiver, then there you go. You got Hank Beatty. Their defense.
I haven't watched him, but I'm getting some Julian Edelman vibes.
I think more Cooper Kupp, but
yeah,
whatever. Their defense though is putrid without Xavier Scott, dude. Like, he was the apex that like held that defense together, and it has been brutal. Like, they gave up 27 to Purdue.
Yeah,
and they're playing Ohio State this week. So
the weird thing about Purdue is that they're so bad, but then they pump out good transfers.
They do. Like Corday Sindor is a pretty
and like
Nick Scorton last year.
Cole Brevard, the Texans nose tackle. I'm watching all of these individual players that apparently played for Purdue last year, and they're like really good. So I mean, their coach must have been terrible, but it's one of the worst Power 4 teams I've ever seen is 2024 Purdue.
All right, last game of the slate then, James. Virginia, Louisville. And, dude, we're getting, again, talking about the wide receiver class, we didn't even bring up Chris Bell, dude. Chris Bell, 2 weeks in a row now, has looked like the Chris Bell that I anticipated coming into the season. I had him wide receiver 2 coming into the season. And so he's starting to really look like it, and had 12 for 170 and 2 touchdowns in this game.
Chris Bell is such a beast, dude. Those stops that he's running this year. Whew.
How many so maybe this is a Dafter draft. We're gonna have to read Dafter draft. How many wide receivers are gonna go first round?
So I have 11 in my top 50.
God, that's a lot of receivers.
Yeah. I've got this is in order. Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, Carnell Tate, Chris Bell, Chris Brazzell, Denzel Boston, Jacoby Lane, Casey Concepcion, Jeremy Bernard, CJ Daniels, Dion Burks, Omar Cooper, Malachi Fields.
You mentioned 4 that I'm like, yeah, 4 first round for sure. If you set that over under 4.5, I think that's where it gets real spicy.
Right, because Tate, Lemon, and Tyson are probably locks, right?
And so they look like it.
So then it would be, and I think like I definitely wouldn't say a lock, but Chris Bell to me is likely to go in the first round, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Dude, I am struggling tonight with this podcast for those who are watching on YouTube. My goodness, I've had some technical difficulties. But yeah, in this game as well, Virginia pulled it out. Virginia, 24th in the nation. I thought Mikhail Boley, again, didn't look great, though. So 2 weeks ago, I hyped him up in my 7-up, and then he hasn't looked excellent since then. So, but yeah, dude, I think you said those 4 receivers, Tyson, Tate, Lemon, Bell are the 4 that I'm like, yeah, those guys look like first rounders to me. And then Brazel's like right there on the edge. I want to see Brazel play through contact still, in like through SEC play before we get too over our heads here. Anything else from Louisville, Virginia we're talking about?
Clev Lubin had another nice game.
Yep, against Mikhail Boley. Yep. So I saw he had a sack. I didn't sit back and watch it though. I haven't watched the Louisville defense versus Virginia offense yet in depth. All right, let's get to helmet stickers here. So I'll let you go first with your first helmet sticker.
So my first helmet sticker is going to be Carnell Tate, Ohio State wide receiver. Probably the biggest riser for me through the first 6 weeks of the college football season. This is a player that I comped to Van Jefferson and Terrace Marshall Jr. over the summer. And despite his, I was excited to watch him because of the recruiting pedigree, obviously. And he's a big athlete. But when you watch his tape last year, it was, one of the most, probably the most disappointing summer scouting tape that I watched. It was like, and not even because he was bad at playing receiver. It's because he just didn't seem like he wanted to be on the field. He ran, I said in a video, but he runs love of the game routes like he hates the game. When you watch him when he isn't getting targeted, it's like, am I supposed to be watching this? Like, why am I wasting my time doing this? Anyways, Texas week 1, that was a sign of what was to come, which is that he completely revamped himself in like nearly every phase as a player.
Yeah.
And has gone from somebody that I viewed as like a 60s to 70s as he was last year to, he's 13 on my board now, and
top 15 players that I was thinking too.
Continue to rise. I think, I wanted to highlight Carnell Tate. He obviously had a really good game against Minnesota, but I think he deserves a shout out just for what he's done all year. They haven't played great competition, but there is so much more detail and nuance as a route runner, way fewer rounded breaks. I still think he gets kind of stuck in and out of breaks at times, and he isn't the most. He's got like some good burst out of breaks, and you see that on where he can use the rocker step on deep posts and stuff. But he's just a little bit slow getting from point A to point B, moving laterally. When he's trying to, he can't really sink his hips and like stop on a dime on comebacks, but he does a good job working back to the football. I do think there are some limitations as far as being a route runner, but he has been dominant at the catch point. I think, what is he, 7 for 8? Yeah, 7 for 8 on contested catches. Puts him at 17 for 26, 65% on his career. Doesn't have a drop. And the other thing that I'll say is that I think he's showing just exponentially more give a shit in the run game. It didn't really show any interest in it last year, but with Igbuka gone, like they're using him at the point of attack as like an insert blocker, and he isn't this dominant pancaker, but he's got long arms and he can just, stay connected and walk people back. So Carnell Tate, biggest riser for me this year, and continues to improve his stock.
Yeah, this is gonna sound really silly and some image scouting here as well, but like just looking at pictures of him, because like I was looking at pictures for thumbnails and stuff like that. His arms look substantially denser than they did last year as well. So like I think he put in a lot of time. And again, if it's showing at the catch point and playing through contact, I think that's all extremely positive. I'll stick with a pass catcher as well here. I'm going to go to Baylor tight end Michael Trigg. So Michael Trigg is a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde prospect in terms of the NFL draft. Scouts love his tape. Like I'll tell you that. I talked to some scouts who have put like very high grades on him. Like some think that other than Kenyon Sadiq, he's the best tight end in the class. But those same scouts will also recognize that their teams won't touch him. Because Trigg has been dismissed from both USC and Ole Miss. And there's some stuff in his profile that scares teams off. But when he's on the field, again, you could see what he did for Baylor in that game, in that close win. He had over 100 yards receiving, made a couple of unbelievable catches, including a one-handed catch along the sideline in that game as well. So Michael Trigg is going to get my helmet sticker. I'm going to recognize the talent here, but also just reiterate that scouts have some hesitations about the player as well. 8 catches, 155 yards in this game.
Yeah, he has 34.5-inch arms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's kind of I was looking at like he's the most extreme discrepancy between height and arm length in this class. He's 6'3", which is 17th percentile, but has a massive wingspan. And I haven't really studied him in depth, but it was impossible to ignore him, even just like flipping through games on Saturday.
His last 3, man, he's up to in his last 3, 16 catches for close to 300 yards and 3 touchdowns over his last 3 games. So he's definitely starting to put it on a little bit with Baylor.
Yeah. Do you think that? I think tight end to me is almost like a mirror image of the running back class, where you've got one really great prospect and then it's been mostly disappointments. Justin Joly had a nice game. I still do really like Justin Joly.
Nice player, had a nice bounce back this week too. But I feel that way as well. This tight end class is like Sadiq, and then it's like, okay, what's next? Because John Michael Gillenborg had really high hopes
Peter
for
Clark from Temple.
No.
So I haven't watched him, but when I'm looking for players to watch, I see him every week. He has maybe he has a deal with PFF or something, but like he has the most insanely high PFF grades. He's 6'6", 265. Could be interesting.
He's an NFL Academy kid too, from London.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. Well, I might have to turn that tape on. Might have to check that out.
It's really high grades, but it's based on like 2 targets a game. So,
well, maybe there isn't much to check out then. All right, my second helmet. We'll snake this. My second helmet sticker here. I will go to the defensive side of the ball here. And Texas A&M's Cassius Howell, dude, Bowling Green legend. It's impossible not to talk about him week in and week out at this point because he's had 2 3-sack games now in a row, or not in a row, but this season he's had 2 3-sack games. On a defensive line where we talked a lot about why didn't Nick Scorton and Shamar Stewart have production along the same defensive line, the same scheme a year ago. So he deserves some shout. He's put on a lot of mass as well. You can definitely tell his body type looks a lot better on tape. He's really explosive. His hands are really fast. Plays with super fast hands, precise hands as well. He's another player, though, at 30-inch arms. He's an outlier. So we'll see how high the NFL will draft a guy with 30-inch arms at a position where they prefer for guys to have length. But I will say we've seen a lot of like stockier pass rushers get drafted top 100 and they hang around, top 100 to top 125 and they hang around. We'll see if Cassius Howell has a higher draft ceiling than that. But man, what he's doing for Texas A&M is pretty extraordinary.
He looks and plays a lot bigger than 6'2", 248 also. Like, I don't know if he's added weight since that, they released that, but it didn't really have any problem setting the edge from what I saw.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Agreed. All right. Who's your next one?
All right. So my next helmet sticker is going to be Miami safety Jacoby Thomas. Not somebody that I'd ever watched before, but watching Miami's defense as I do every week for Ruben Bain, he popped off the screen and really just was stuffing the stat sheet on Saturday. 3 stops, 5 tackles, was targeted 8 times. He did give up a touchdown towards the end of the game, like in the red zone, but he had an interception, 2 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Also had a sack. Just a really good performance. I mean, he's 6'2", 200, not ideal mass for a safety, but does seem to be a good athlete and probably a potential day 3 pick. More so just wanted to highlight a really outstanding individual performance, though.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Again, I haven't taken a lot of time there to check out him.
Yeah, the only thing I can tell you about him is that he had 1 good game.
Yep. Awesome. Snaking back to you. Who you got next?
All right. I'm going to go with Ty Simpson. I think this could borderline, like, I think Ty Simpson or Carnell Tate could borderline be call the family candidates.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm probably going to end up with Ty Simpson as my quarterback 1, unless Lenora Sellers or Fernando Mendoza like take a massive step. Not that they've been bad, but I feel like Ty Simpson has been better than them. I just like, I know he's been sitting on the bench and like cooking for years basically, but to have no experience and attack the middle of the field like this, the way that he does with anticipation and timing, and not just that, but, you know, getting to the backside and hitting a curl. He's just so, like you said on Twitter, like, how did you describe it? I thought it was perfect.
A fearless middle of field thrower, anticipating some absolute windows, and has shown the ability.
Oh yeah, running a tight ship. That's running a tight ship is like the best description for Ty Simpson. He's just in complete command. You know, checking into hole shots, identifying pressures. I think he's a better athlete than he shows, but he did, you know, get to kind of show off some of the play extension ability and had that incredible touchdown in the red zone. So yeah, I think stock has continued to rise for Ty Simpson, and I would, he isn't my quarterback 1 right now, but I feel like he's going to end up as my QB 1.
I mean, we'll find a lot. Obviously, 5 games is going to put us near the end of the season. We're going to find a lot out on the stretch here. But yeah, dude, he's playing some really good football. Him and Dante Moore both are running pretty tight ships. Which I would, again, we said like, oh, let's watch out for Dante Moore because he has some starting experience, and he took this like mature decision to go back up with the most experienced quarterback in college football last year, and then before stepping back into it. So like, we anticipated there was some room for gray area at Dante Moore, but this is just out of the blue, man. So yeah, what Ty Simpson's doing is it's complete control. He threw that interception on 4th and 2, like that 4th down attempt, but like it was basically a punt. I mean, was it a great decision? No, but it was like the first bad decision I've seen Ty Simpson make since week 1. So really, really excellent stuff from Ty Simpson. All right, for my next one, I'm going to go back to the offensive side of the ball as well here, and I'm going to go to Ohio State offensive tackle Austin Seerveld, redshirt sophomore. So we'll see if he actually declares this year. But he's also definitely a guard at the NFL level. You can definitely tell there's a lack of length there. But playing left tackle at Ohio State, again, most of his matchups were against Anthony Smith in this game, who is seen as a top 100 player in this class. And man, I thought Anthony Smith was invisible for this game as well, because Seerveld erased him. Again, I thought he was pretty much a road grader in the run game. He was clearing some nasty lanes in the run game, and then in pass pro. This is where I had some grace, right? Anthony Smith has a lot of length, so he got into his chest a couple times. But again, I thought Seerveld dropped his anchor pretty effectively to still lock out there and anchor down. I think Seerveld's punch is nice, and I think the placement of his grip when he does latch is spectacular, and then his grip strength is spectacular. And then the timing of him dropping his hips is spectacular. So when I view him as a guard, I tell myself, like, yeah, I could see this guy declaring. Again, we're early into Big Ten play, so I'm not getting out over my skis about a redshirt sophomore in his first season starting at Ohio State. But like, it is his first season starting at Ohio State, but he started games last year because they had so much injury along their offensive line last year as well. So Austin Seerveld's going to get a helmet sticker for me here for his performance against Anthony Smith in Minnesota.
I'll have to check him out. Always love short arm tackles. Is it me?
I think it's me. Yeah, sneaking back.
Oh, you got
sneaking back to me now. And for my fourth and final helmet sticker here, I'm going to go with Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez. You know, I initially turned this game on because David Bailey had 11 pressures and I wanted to check it out. And my eyes were drawn to number 10 in the middle of their defense. Again, he's listed at 6'1", 235. So he's probably a bit stockier at linebacker than like the prototypical build. Like he's not Arvell Reese at 6'4", 245 or anything like that. But I thought he was a really witty player, and I thought his hips he moved pretty well. Baited Connor Wigman in this one for an interception over the middle of the field as well. Fits the run extraordinarily well, and then I even thought he triggered downhill spying at a high level in this game as well. Really firm tackler too. So, what is his draft stock? I don't know. PFF seems to think he's one of the best linebackers in the nation, but he did catch my eye on this one, and I think he left early. He only played 36 snaps in this game, but those 36 snaps, he filled up a game's worth of box score in just those 36 snaps in this one. So Texas Tech linebacker Jacob Rodriguez is going to get my last helmet sticker here.
I've heard so many people talking about Jacob Rodriguez. He is number one on my next to watch list. My final helmet sticker is going to be somebody that I've talked about pretty extensively, but Jake Golday continues to ball out. This is an awesome linebacker class, and you don't have to leave the state of Ohio to find an ass kicker. Yeah. I mean, 3 of my top 4 linebackers play in Ohio right now. And, you know, we've talked about Jake Golday, where he's kind of a difficult projection because he plays this overhang, like in man on the line of scrimmage role. And it's a lot of just like setting the edge that isn't as translatable to playing off the ball, but they've continued to move him into a more traditional off the ball role. And his stack and shed skills are phenomenal. I mean, I think for somebody who is relatively new to the sport, I'm impressed with his eyes and his instincts. But when a guard meets him head on at the second level, like he wins that collision almost every time. He just wrecks people in space. But then what was so impressive about this game is what he was able to do in coverage. He was able to really get depth in his drops and anticipate route development that was happening behind his back while he watched the quarterback, and didn't get an interception, but forced 2 incompletions, breaking into passing lanes. So I think Jake Golday's stock continues to rise. I am very high on him. I think I've got him top 35, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 34. So I like the linebackers this year. Linebackers and receivers. That's where I'm targeting.
Awesome. Well, that's going to do it, man. We just knocked out 8 helmet stickers there. We didn't have a solid call the family this week. I guess Carnell Tate was kind of a soft call the family this week. But now that we're getting deeper into conference play, I feel like we might have multiple per week coming through here. So
Ruben Bain, call the family again. And
call the family again, yeah. 11 pressures against Florida State in that game. So, all right, James, anything else for the people before we get out of here?
That's all I got.
That's all I got, too. Until next time, this has been another episode of the Draft on Draft podcast. We'll see you.